Golden Opportunities is paid for by Elder Productions.
Hello, I'm Lori Steiner. Welcome to Golden Opportunities.
Today, where does your candidate stand on Social Security? AARP asked, and we have the answers. Then, School's in Session will test you on how well you take care of your teeth. We'll focus on a unique exhibit that frames the civil rights movement through photos. Plus, the doctor is in. We'll check up on the latest health news. And a recent Medicare lawsuit could affect millions. In a good way. We'll explain.
It's time to get GOing, so pull up a chair and join us at our kitchen table for Golden Opportunities. As we get closer to Election Day, it's more important than ever to understand where the candidates stand on the issues. And AARP knows that one of those issues deserves particular attention: Social Security. Angela Foxworth Everett is here to update us on the efforts to have candidates take a stand on this vital program. Angela is the field director for AARP's Take a Stand efforts here in Northeast Ohio. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, we've talked about the Take a Stand effort before, but kind of give us a quick refresher on it.
I can definitely do that. We all know how Social Security works. You pay into Social Security and you get the benefits you earned. But to keep the promise for future generations, Social Security needs to be updated for the 21st century. That's something that we all can agree upon.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. And if our leaders don't act, future retirees could lose up to $10,000 a year in their benefits. Every year, our leaders wait and do nothing. Finding a solution grows more difficult. And so AARP is pressing every candidate to take a stand and lay out their plan to update Social Security so it's financially and sound with adequate benefits.
Okay, so how are you getting the candidates to actually take a stand?
That's the hard part.
Yeah, good thing.
AARP is holding candidates accountable to voters by directly questioning candidates at their events, pressing candidates on social media, airing television and digital advertising, mobilizing AARP members and featuring their views on Social Security in our publications. Our number one question for presidential candidates is, what is your plan to address Social Security's financial shortfall and update the program to put it on stable ground for our kids and grandkids? And our question for congressional candidates is, will you commit to working with President-elects to update Social Security, to put it on stable ground for our kids and our grandkids? It's very important.
Absolutely. So you got a website?
We do have a website, 2016takeastand.org.
Okay.
It serves as our one-stop resource for voters to find out which candidate has a plan and which don't.
Hope to have one by now.
Everyone has a plan. Everyone has a plan, and it features a real-time feed of every candidate's public statement on Social Security.
Wow. So this is nationwide and statewide and even local, right? And on
Absolutely.
the local level, you need some help.
Absolutely, we need help. We have an office at 14200 Madison Avenue, which is located in Lakewood, where we're asking volunteers to help us target Lorain, Cuyahoga, Summit, Stark, and Mahoney counties in this effort. Volunteers can choose to make phone calls to other voters. The goal is which to discuss Take a Stand, encouraging those voters to know where candidates stand on Social Security before casting their vote. Volunteers will also have the opportunity to spend time at political events, representing the Take a Stand campaign, engaging with voters, and discussing why updating Social Security for the 21st century is a priority for them. There are opportunities to engage with candidates along with voters during these events.
Sounds great.
Absolutely.
So not only is AARP going to push, we need everybody to push, right?
We need everyone to push. I ask people to come hang out with us 2 or 3 hours out of the, out of the week.
Mm-hmm. The future of Social Security is important to everyone, no matter what their age. And AARP is helping to make sure candidates are aware of that and pressing them for a plan to keep it going. To help with these efforts right here in our area, you can visit www.2016takeastand.org or use the information that's coming up next. My thanks to Angela for sitting down with us today to talk about Take a Stand. Thanks.
Thank you so much for having me.
For more information, call AARP Ohio at 866-389-5653 or click to www.aarp.org/Ohio. Next, an A+ smile. But first, we know blood donations save lives, and we have Surgeon Charles Richard Drew to thank. He organized the first blood bank in the U.S., yet he was not allowed to donate. Do you know why? We'll draw out the answer when we return.
Let's all wake up to better health. Breathe it in and let it all out. Find a partner, an ally, a MetroHealth doctor who will listen as long as it takes, so you can celebrate every day by living it your way. Get your physical, checkup, regular screening at MetroHealth and wake up every day to better health. Change is healthy.
The first blood bank was organized in 1941 when segregation laws were still in effect. That meant Dr. Drew, who was black, was not permitted to donate. Dr. Drew resigned from the American Red Cross in protest of the policy of racial segregation in blood donation. The policy was finally abolished in 1950, the year Dr. Drew died.
You may not be in school, but you get a test on your teeth every 6 months at your dental appointment. Have you done your homework to get a grade A smile? Dentist Steve Marsh is here with study tips that will take you to the head of the class. Welcome back, Steve.
Thanks, Lorian. I like that introduction.
And speaking of studies, there's a study a couple months ago, apparently, that proves that flossing doesn't help your teeth at all. So do we get rid of that wax floss?
No, so actually, we went into that. We've heard that from all our patients. Oh my God, the men especially. Finally, I have an excuse. It turns out what it really said was that the studies that examined it were actually flawed. So there's not really a well-documented study. Having said that, I can tell you, having practiced 39 years, that if we don't floss, food gets caught between the teeth and that sort of thing. It breaks down, acids are produced, and that's what causes so much of the decay. So I would encourage you to continue flossing.
Okay, so we need to floss, but what if flossing is hard? You know, you don't have the dexterity to be able to get in there and really do a good job.
And that applies to a lot of people in our age group and other younger people who've had some physical problems. So I'm going to hold up some of the things. Conventional floss. We still use conventional floss, and that's that little holder. If you have trouble, I'm going to hold up a couple other items. This is a flosser for people who can't maybe use their fingers way in the back, and it's preloaded. That still works. For people who have spaces between their teeth, there's a brush, and it goes in and out, and it's especially good as we get older, our gums recede. Right. And lastly, Lori, there's something called the water flosser. I'm going to try and use it here with you. And it gives you a burst of air. Oh, sorry. It gives you a burst of air and water. And that's something else. It's a little messy, but it works quite well.
All right. That's great. So how about brushing your teeth?
So we still want to brush our teeth. We have a few props. Everyone knows what a conventional toothbrush looks like. We're very big on ultrasonic toothbrushes. You know that noise. And it cleans very well. The key thing is whatever instrument you use it. Oh, and I can't even get that off. There we go. That's going to vibrate through the rest of the segment. And we also use a Prevident. This is a special toothpaste for highly fluoridated. But we still see lots of decay, unfortunately, Lori.
Okay. So you've got some x-rays and maybe some pictures that show,
even
if there's problems, you can fix it or you can help.
Absolutely. But again, we want to work very much on prevention first, and that's what these items are for. Today's dentists should all have a digital x-ray system. And here's one of our assistants pointing Debbie to a patient. And we can actually show them the decay that happens between the teeth. So it's not enough for the dentist just to say, I think you have it. We like to show them so the patient also will take ownership of it. Lori, these are pictures we took just this week in our office. We have an intraoral camera. It shows before. So that's what we see as a dentist. When you've opened up the tooth, that darkness is decay. And I tell people, just like a piece of fruit that goes bad, it turns color. Think of a banana. It turns darker, the texture changes, the odor changes. Same thing happens in a tooth. The after is actually showing after I've cleaned out the decay between two teeth. And oftentimes, if it's on one side, it's on the other, again, because food wasn't taken off. Here's another picture looking into a tooth. This is what we as the dentists see, decay, and you can see those little potholes. It actually changes the color and texture and density. That's what we're able to pick up on an x-ray. Today we refine those and restore those with tooth colored restorations, and you can see how nice we can make it. A young boy, 22 years old, drank Gatorade all day. He's a golf pro. That's all that destruction of the teeth. If you look closely at that, you see decalcification. There he is with cleaned out. Again, before is after we've taken out the decay. You can see we've taken out a substantial amount. The after shows that upper quadrant. A young girl again. Her dentist had tried to fix it with some bonding material, had lots of decay. You can see how badly decalcified the lowers are. And again, we ended up putting porcelain veneers and doing gum contouring. But again, that's at 20 to 22 years old. So if you get decay, we can fix it. But again, we have to continue to floss and brush, see our dentist regularly, use a fluoridated toothpaste. Those are all very essential in maintaining the mouth condition.
Absolutely. Consider dentist Steve Marsh your study buddy in helping to ace your beautiful smile. Need a conference outside of class for more help? Give him a call. The number's next.
See what Dr. Stephen Marsh can do for your smile by calling 440-461-1003 or visit www.clevelandsmiles.com. Next, shining a light on heroes in the shadows. Looking for places to go, things to do? Welcome to our community calendar. Is your pet awesome? Of course! So don't miss the Cleveland Amazing Pet Expo on October 8th and 9th at the Cuyahoga County Fairgrounds. It's free for you and your pet. Discover talents and treats along with pampering and pet products. Don't bark up the wrong tree. Call 800-977-3609 for info or find the perfect details at www.amazingpetexpocleveland.com.
We remember the civil rights demonstrations in the 1960s and the brave people who marched for freedom. But they weren't the only ones fighting for justice. Photographers who chronicled this struggle shared the black and white reality of racial inequality. Jeffrey Allen is here to preview a unique exhibition that focuses on their efforts and how they still challenge us today. Jeffrey is Director of Education and Public Programs for the Maltz Museum of Jewish Heritage. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks, it's a pleasure to be here.
So we have this new exhibit called This Light of Ours, Activist Photographers of the Civil Rights Movement. So tell us about it.
Well, this is an amazing exhibition that will tell you the story of civil rights through video, through interactives, and through over 150 stunning black and white photographs. These images were taken by 9 photographers who were not members of the press and the media elite, but rather were 9 activist photographers who were part of the movement. So many of these images are gritty, raw, and real. The exhibition takes its name from the famous song, This Little Light of Mine.
I remember singing that.
The issues that come forth are relevant today. The original exhibition was created by the Center for Documentary Expression in Art, but the films, the interactives, and the overall new design were conceived and created by the Maltz Museum. Now, although this is featuring information from 50 years ago, its relevance is still palpable today. Pick up any newspaper from our own community here in Cleveland, or Dallas, or Baltimore, and we'll see the relevance and importance of the civil rights movement even through to today.
Absolutely. You mentioned recent events with regard to Cleveland, but there's also a Cleveland connection in one of the pictures from the past.
Yes, and the image I think that will be coming up first is that of Rabbi Arthur Lelyveld from Fairmount Temple. And in this image, you can see he was brutally beaten with a tire iron, and this was just a month after 3 civil rights activists were murdered for simply trying to enfranchise the rights of African Americans to vote. So the danger of even taking this stand was extraordinarily high.
Yeah, looks that way. The photographs are amazing. I mean, so far we've showed a few, so let's talk about a few more.
Well, sure. Here's the image that's up right now. This is in front of a Mississippi Delta Freedom House, and the KKK had burnt a cross in front of it, and one of the civil rights workers repurposed it as a message of hope by painting the word freedom across the front. Now, although this isn't in front of that wasn't in front of a church, churches were the center of life in the African American community and were in fact the base for many of these civil rights activists to come forward. Here's an image that's terrific. This is a young man, Bobby Simmons. He's not even old enough to vote, and yet he's marching to Montgomery, and his message can't be any more abundantly clear. And that's in sunscreen, I might add.
Sunscreen, oh my,
And
okay.
these images, this wasn't relegated just to the South. We have things that are happening right here in Cleveland, Ohio, and we've added content specific to Northeast Ohio, including the 1963-64 effort to desegregate Cleveland schools. One of the events that led up to the historic election of Carl Stokes as the first African-American mayor of a major American city.
Wow, I wish we had more time to see pictures and everything, but people have got to go.
Absolutely.
Well, we've made great strides. As Jeffrey noted, there is still work to be done in this challenging area of racial inequality. This exhibit shares the courageous efforts of those who went before us and challenges us to do our part today. My thanks to Jeffrey for shining a light on this exhibit for us today.
Find out more by calling the Maltz Museum of Jewish Heritage at 216-593-2204 or log on to www.maltzmuseum.org. Next, a healthy investment to boost your well-being. It's time to get up and go, an exercise segment on golden opportunities.
Hello everybody, it's Mike Carbon from Breakout Fitness, and today we're here to show you how to work not only the back muscles, not only the bicep muscles, but also the shoulder muscles. You ready to go?
Ooh, multi-purpose.
That's right. We have a chair out in front of us. This is just basically to give us some distance and something to hold on to. We want our feet shoulder width apart. We're going to maintain very good posture. We have a dumbbell in our right hand today, so we're going to bend at the waist, lean forward and grab that chair. Let the dumbbell hang straight down to your side. Now from here, all we're going to do is pull the dumbbell into the chest in starting a lawnmower type motion, okay? 12 and 15 repetitions. Make sure your elbow comes past your back as much as you can, okay? So again, 12 to 15, switch sides. How's it feeling?
Ooh, my arms need this.
Pretty good, right? Yeah. This is a good overall exercise, guys. Okay, again, remember, make sure you breathe, exhale with exertion, and inhale as your body rests. Beautiful. All right, everybody, 12 to 15, and now it's your turn to get up and go.
For your copy of the exercise booklet, send $1 for postage to Golden Opportunities, 6105 Parkland Boulevard, Suite 140, Mayfield Heights, Ohio, 44124.
How did you sleep last night? The answer to that question could reveal a lot about your health. If you keep tossing and turning, Dr. Joseph Golish is here with help so you can get a good night's sleep. Dr. Golish is with the Center for Sleep Medicine at MetroHealth. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Lauren. How are you?
So tell us, why is sleep so important to our health?
We are literally bombarded with media coverage of diet and exercise, but in fact, the third and most important actually is sleep. Why is it most important? Because it affects us every single night. Plus, in addition to that, we're unconscious when bad things are happening in our sleep. We're unaware of it. And the restless sleeper, regardless of the cause, not just sleep apnea, but snoring, insomnia, and so on, cause microarousals in our brain, which trigger a fight or flight reaction by the body that is really harmful to our health. Our blood pressure and pulse shoot up multiple times through the night. We don't know it. In addition to that, we're also deprived of the restorative sleep, the sleep that kind of reboots our internal computer. So the result is our brain doesn't function nearly as well after bad sleep, and that means poor decisions, difficulty solving problems, poor memory, and even stress, anxiety, depression all can result from that.
Okay, now you mentioned sleep apnea, and a lot of people know what that is, but what are some of these other issues that can cause you to have a restless night?
Well, even primary snoring, people who don't have apnea but are disruptive snorers, can cause high blood pressure, heart trouble, and so on, not to mention difficulty sleeping. In addition, side snorers, sort of like side smoke, they are actually victims. They lose several hours of quality sleep each night.
Because they hear the partner sleeping, they're snoring.
Absolutely. And then in addition, insomnia, restless legs, shift work, the night owl syndrome, all of those can cause the same sort of disruption of the sleep that affects our health and our memory and our emotional mood function.
But you say a lot of these sleep disorders are not diagnosed and treated. Why would that be?
Well, the reason for that in part is because we often think of these problems as just a nuisance. It's something there really aren't any good treatments for. which clearly is a misconception because there has been a revolution in treatments as well. And so we end up self-treating. We go to over-the-counter medicines, nutrition shops. We go online. We go to infomercials and try different devices. But also because there's such constraints now on cost in the healthcare system, the healthcare system really doesn't want to make it easy to get patients with those disorders treated medically, which they actually should be. So it's incumbent on patients when they have those problems to seek the right provider and be their own advocate. And that's what I tell my kids and grandkids. The healthcare system's different than it once was. Marcus Welby's long gone, if you remember him.
Oh, yeah.
And so they really have to be patient and persistent in working through the system to get the treatments that they need.
And there are new medications and new devices that help you with sleep apnea, storing all this restless. So tell us about some of that.
Yeah, just like this last decade of understanding of the bad things that happen in our brain and body with bad sleep, there have been a revolution in new medications and new devices for treatment, but they often don't get employed because people don't know about them, and their providers aren't necessarily helping them get to them, nor is their health insurer and so on making it easy.
There's a new medication, though, first.
Yeah, well, new medications are two very revolutionary medications. One that blocks the wake hormone, or the wake hormone is orexin. These are orexin blockers. There are other stimulants that are non-stimulants, not addicting, unlike the drugs that we did use in the past, that we still have to use often because they're the only ones covered, are amphetamines, which have their own problems of tolerance and addiction. There are also meds that are non-benzodiazepines, not addicting, non-harmful, that should replace most of the drugs over the years that we've used, like zolpidem. And then there are also devices, devices like CPAP, that's on the left in this panel. And a lot of people just can't or won't use their CPAP, and there's a nasal valve that is FDA approved that can replace all of that fancy technology, and about 90% of the patients who won't or can't use CPAP we can salvage with that device. And then there are also oral devices. One is a tongue retaining device, just pulls the tongue forward. The other is a mouth guard that pulls the lower jaw forward. And the result of that is opens the airway in another way. Again, alternatives, both for snorers and for apnea patients. And then finally, this is a device that's been available in Europe for some time. In fact, even health insurance pays for it in Europe. It just came to this country, but it's a pillow that senses when a patient snores or has an apnea, and then it changes the position of the pillow. It inflates compartments to change the location of the airway to eradicate the snore and the apnea.
Amazing.
That's revolutionary, without having to wear anything on the face or in the mouth.
Great tips. If a good night's sleep was a long time ago for you, Dr. Golish has shown that there are new options for alleviating many sleep issues. To learn more, use the information that's coming up next. My thanks to the doctor for waking us up to these slumber solutions.
To learn more, call MetroHealth at 216-778-7800 or visit their website, www.metrohealth.org. Next, a new ruling on an old Medicare rule.
Hilltop Village Apartments is retirement living at its best. Residents enjoy a wide variety of activities and living services with all large first-floor apartments, private screened-in patios with beautiful park views, daily dining room meals, free laundry facilities, 24-hour staff, and so much more. Enjoy safe, comfortable independence at a very affordable price. Call today for a tour and learn how you can get your first month's rent free. Hilltop Village Apartments, retirement living at its best.
We're approaching the time of year for Medicare's open enrollment. We're going to cover that on the show. However, there are some other Medicare issues, legal issues with Medicare that are also very important, and we have to talk about those. And today's is a landmark decision that came about a few years back. First, the background. A big issue with Medicare coverage is that most people and care providers incorrectly think that Medicare won't pay for skilled care like rehab, therapy, and other daily health needs in a skilled facility or at home unless the patient is showing improvement or if he fails to progress. This idea has become very pervasive in today's healthcare, and people just accept it as the law. However, improvement is not the standard by which Medicare can stop paying for skilled care. It never has been. Millions of seniors were denied coverage when they should have gotten more skilled care treatments. Along came one brave woman, 78-year-old Glenda Jimmo from Vermont, who is blind and has an amputated leg. Glenda led a 2011 federal class action lawsuit against Medicare to help clarify the coverage for skilled care like she needed at home. The government settled the case in 2012 by agreeing that under federal law, people cannot be denied coverage for skilled care just because they've reached a plateau and are not improving. Coverage is necessary if the person needs skilled care to maintain his or her condition, prevent complications, or to not backslide. The law is a maintenance standard, not an improvement standard. So what happened after this landmark decision? Medicare agreed to rewrite their policy manuals. Medicare was also required to educate seniors and Medicare skilled care providers about the correct policy. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid, CMS, agreed to do it, but there wasn't any real meaningful follow-up, and CMS stopped their education efforts in 2015. Most seniors and care providers have never even heard of the case, and CMS refuses to help because they say, well, we did what we had to do. But hope is not lost. In March of this year, the Jimmo attorneys were back in court to file a motion forcing CMS to adhere to these settlements. On August 17, 2016, the chief federal judge in Vermont issued an opinion and order requiring CMS to continue the education and enforce the maintenance standard that the law requires. Time will tell if CMS is going to do what they're supposed to do. But you can see seniors need to learn more about this Jimmo case and use their clout to force changes at CMS. For a more in-depth look at this decision, please check out the September-October issue of Boomer and Beyond magazine, available free everywhere, or for more information, use the number that's coming up next.
Call Solomon, Steiner, and Peck at 1-888-236-5173 for more information or to schedule a speaker for your organization. Or log on to www.ssnplaw.com.
Thanks for joining us. On next week's show, remember I promised Medicare Open Enrollment will be talked about. Then, want to unlock the doors to financial success? We have some key pieces of advice. And we'll be bringing you lots more great information next week when we're on the air. But until then, please remember to make the most of your golden opportunities.
If you'd like to join our kitchen conversation, visit our website, www.goldenopportunities.tv. Like us on Facebook. Call us at 440-742-GO-TV or email us at kitchen@goldenopportunities.tv. We'd love to hear from you.
Golden Opportunities is paid for by Elder Productions.